It's finally here, belterlowda! Season 5 of The Expanse has officially begun, and it's off with a bang. The first 3 episodes have been released, and here is what I thought of them. Now, these reviews will be spoiler-free from the books, but not the show, obviously. Now, bear in mind, these are just kind of quick reviews, a run-through of the episode, and my initial first reactions to each episode and favourite moments. But for now, let's just get into it. Episode 1, Exodus. So here's the quick scene by scene. So we open Season 5 following asteroid number 9 on its 173rd day after being launched by Marco Inaros as it breaks up due to the sun's heat. As the remains of it fly past Venus, we encounter the science vessel Hasami. Aboard it is a small crew that are just about to celebrate having discovered what they think is a bona fide space oddity before they are interrupted by boarders led by Philip Inaros. He takes their data core and they execute the crew. Philip and Sin watch as one of their comrades gets trapped aboard the Hisami and they let him die with the ship due to the broken asteroids. Opening credits. On Tycho Station, Naomi and Sakai exit the Rocinante. Naomi reveals that Amos and Alex are both off station on personal business. They are interrupted by a new character who comes in and has a go at Naomi for taking advantage of Fred's generosity. And I didn't actually realise until the second episode that this is motherfucking bull, yo! Carlos de Baca has officially made his show debut, although I'm not sure why they brought him in now, but totally happy to see where that goes. They are greeted outside by Fred, who reveals to Naomi that he has found her son Philip on Palace Station. Back in his room, Jim listens to the news feeds about, well, about everything that's going on in the world. While taking his cancer medication, Naomi calls him and advises he eats alone as she'll be busy. Aboard the lazy songbird, Amos makes himself comfy in his new room. While at first coming across as standoffish to the polite passengers, he quickly shows his heart of gold as he threatens the Belter Coyos who come through trying to rob the passengers with insurance. They threaten to come back for him and Amos is way too impatient to wait, so he goes to the bathroom and waits for them there. They attack and of course he beats the living shit out of them. At a bar in Tycho, Monica Stewart approaches Holden who claims to be on forced furlough, which is a nice wink from the writers to the current situation. She claims to have information that someone in the belt is still working on the protomolecule, despite Holden's denials that any more exists. Holden leaves, but we see 2 shady-looking belters watching Monica. Who are these mofos? Naomi does more research into her son's whereabouts and who he is hanging out with, that being Sin and Carol. Having flown the Razorback back to Mars, Alex Camel arrives home. He leaves Bobby a message. Bobby, however, is currently busy buying a suit of power armor from the black market. She tries to inquire about stealth missiles, but is shut out, so she takes the armour back to her stash and reports to Avasarala that her suspicions of a major supplier of black market weapons is moving them through a Martian base. Holden bursts into Fred's room while he is eating and asks him straight out if he and Dawes are working on the protomolecule. Fred admits it to be true. Unable to convince Fred of the error of his ways, Holden shows him a message, or a recording, in fact, of the artifact on Illus sent to him by Elvi Okoye. This message includes a simulation of what the unknown aggressors look like, which is fucking terrifying. While at first Fred is engrossed by this new knowledge, he eventually talks Holden down, as so far no one has been hurt and the rest is pure speculation. They have a drink and a heart-to-heart, and Fred advises Holden that he should stop worrying about trying to save the world and instead build something with Naomi. On Mars, Alex takes the tram to visit his family and is shocked to see how different Mars is now. He literally picks up litter on the train in confusion. The advert behind him promises a new life and opportunity beyond the ring gates. He arrives at his ex-wife's to have her basically tell him to fucking do one and shuts the door in his face. They do not owe him any closure, which I think is fair enough. As Bobby makes her way to meet Alex at a local dive bar, she receives a message from Asai Martin's wife, whom, along with her child, has taken passage beyond the rings thanks to Bobby. Alex talks to his own son on FaceTime as he waits for Bobby, and when Bobby arrives, she suddenly takes her anger out on him and then leaves. On Tycho, Holden gets back to his room and Naomi tells him that she has found Philip and it breaks their hearts, but she must go after him alone. Not only is it her own personal journey, but turning up with an Earther, Jim Holden of all people, would not help her situation. Holden still wants to come, even if it means staying on the ship, as long as he's able to help her if she needs it. But she convinces him and he concedes. Amos arrives on Luna and is escorted to see Avasarala. They have some good banter before Christian agrees to let him return to Earth. After Amos leaves, Admiral Delgado comes in and informs Avasarala that the Hasami wasn't simply destroyed by unexpected meteor activity, but that Marco Inaros is somehow involved. Naomi boards the Chetzamoka and begins messaging Jim saying if something goes wrong, but it cuts out before we see the rest. On the Rossi, Jim watches the Chetzamoka leave Tycho Station via video feed. Alex walks around Mars, seeing copious space for rent and everything must go signs. The opening of the ring gates has changed Mars forever. On Luna, Amos makes his way towards the transit to Earth. Along the way, he passes the memorial of the Augustin Gamara, the ship that Marco destroyed using Naomi's own program. And then we intercut between Avasarala studying the feeds of the Marco who knows how to enrage and incite the Belters into open rebellion, and the cool calculating Marco studying the flight paths of his asteroids aboard what I can only imagine is the Pella. End credits. So I thought it was excellent episodes. Now everyone knows that in most shows, especially a show like The Expanse, the first episode's job is to set up the narrative, the rest of the season, you know, including themes and character arcs, etc. And I think this episode did an absolutely fantastic job of that. It gave us a good sense of where the galaxy is politically, economically and socially, as well as taking the first steps towards our four heroes' journeys, as well as hinting at the bigger picture. The four heroes being the crew of the Rossi, but of course Bobby and Christian are our main heroes too. But to me, Nemesis Games really is about these four. Anyway, by the end of the episode, Naomi is off on the Chetzamoka to Palace Station to find her son Filipito. Amos is making his way from Luna to Baltimore, Alex is back home on Mars trying to figure some shit out, and Holden is left standing alone in the now empty Rocinante, wondering how to spend his time. We've also got Badass Arala trying to keep the galaxy in check from a distance, covertly working with Bobby to uncover the black market arms dealer on Mars, as well as Fred Johnson and Anderson Dawes apparently working together on the protomolecule. I can't really remember / differentiate between book and show Dawes, his story, but at least last I remember, in season 2, Dawes stole the protomolecule and Cortazar and publicly humiliated Fred, but apparently they're working together now, so that's what's happening, it seems. So yeah, this was, to me, a perfect opener for season 5, giving us just the right amount of, you know, right balance of reminding the audience where everything is at narratively and setting up what is to come. And quickly, my favourite moments from episode 1 was the visuals at the start of the 9th asteroid breaking up. That was really awesome. Love the introduction of Bull. Glad to see Carlos in the crew now. Amos and Chrissy's fucking relationship is just gold. In the books, on screen, it's just gold, man. The line, she says, when he calls her Chrissy and she's like, I'm a member of parliament, not your favourite stripper, and he's just like, you could be both. You know, just absolute gold, love it. I love the moment, the random fucking belters on Tycho who cheer Holden on when he was talking to Monica. They just randomly go, Rocinante Baratna! Love that, don't know why, I just love it. I also really loved seeing the decline of Mars post ring gates and Alex's point of view, seeing how everyone's trying to leave and, you know, Mars is just not the place it used to be. I really enjoyed seeing that. Generally, the special effects were just fucking incredible, and the long establishing shots were it's absolutely glorious. It's definitely one of the best looking shows on telly. Absolutely loved it. Episode 2, Churn. So the episode starts with fan favourite drummer, yay, making an awesome entry into season 5, and as I assume other book readers would have predicted a while ago, she is seemingly being amalgamated with Michio Parr's arc from Babylon's Ashes, which I've confirmed by reading the IMDb credits. Michio Parr is actually one of her crew members, along with Oksana, Joseph and Bertold. Drummer is seemingly taken to pirating, although good-hearted pirating it seems. They send a fellow pirate ship packing in fear/respect. Her crewmate repeats Anderson Dawes' catchphrase, the more you share, the more your bowl will be plentiful, hinting that they are maybe working under him, or that he's just the big man now. Drummer manages to locate Ashford's ship, and her part in the episode ends here. Opening credits. Next, we see what Baltimore looks like 300 years in the future as Amos Burton arrives back home. I really appreciate the detail of the rooftops popping out of the ocean from before the sea rose. He sees a woman calming down a beaten and bloody young boy, and then he meets Charles, played by the legendary Frankie Faison, and discovers how Lydia dies. Charles reveals that a man named Eric is to receive the house after Lydia dies, but Amos says he'll take care of it. I really love this scene. Frankie brought the pain, and seeing Amos almost brought to tears too was extremely moving. Back on Tycho, we get a nice little exposition scene as Fred and Bull discuss Fred's current motivation, as well as learn how Bull came to be working for him. On the Rocinante, Jim and Sakai have a coffee together and discuss the ship's status. Jim receives a message from Monica Stewart and once again goes to blow her off. But it's Jim fucking Holden and he can't help himself, especially when the protomolecule is involved in some shady shit. He goes to her room and to find it trashed and Monica missing, so he calls Fred for help. Alex arrives at Bobby's pad for round 2. Alex, being the mindful, caring person he is, in the show at least, knows something is amiss with Bobby and it ain't nothing to do with him. She gives in and shows him her collection of black market goodies she and Avasarala have been buying up. She reveals her suspects and Alex recognises Salvatore, or Salvateri, whatever you want to call him. Salvatore, I'm sure that's what he called him in the episode. Salvatore is an old superior of his and they decide to pay him a little visit on the off chance that Bobby's suspicions are right. Back in Baltimore, Amos makes a friend and asks him to pass a message on to Eric. On Tycho, Holden, Fred and Bull try to find Monica and find out someone inside Tycho security is most likely involved. There's a rat in the building, guys. We see Monica is being kept locked up in a shipping container. Alex visits Salvatore and catches the end of his lecture, and a very telling lecture indeed, as he essentially says to always be ready for the game to change. You know, basically what Littlefinger said in like season 7 of Game of Thrones, but actually well written. Alex tries to sweet talk him into getting coffee, but Salvatore wants nothing to do with him. Instead, a woman named Babbage, Emily Babbage, tries to take him up on his offer instead. And the scene ends with the revelation that Babbage is just trying to get information out of Alex on Salvatore's command. Back in Baltimore, Amos awaits his new friend. He watches the bloody boy and the woman again. His new friend arrives and takes him to Eric, and the boy and the woman disappearing as they leave, you know, confirming it was just Amos's memory of Lydia and Young himself. I love that Amos gives his new friend a DIY ice pack. That was really nice. We get a quick shot of the UN asteroid spotter in orbit, and suddenly something zooms past it in the dark. The stealth paint has worked. Christian Avasarala takes a visit from her daughter Ashanti, who is leaving back to Earth. They discuss Christian and Arjun's currently rocky relationship. Avasarala will not back down. Earth must come first, of course. She then has a conference with Secretary General Nancy Gao, Admiral Delgado and 2 others, in which discrepancies in the reports from the slow zone are discussed, but not enough for Avasarala, who rightly wants to discuss the matter further, but is booed off by the condescending SecGen Gao. Now, back to Tycho, as Fred, Jim and Bull talk further on their security. Holden hears a beeping noise and immediately answers it, explaining to Fred in the 2 best lines of the season so far, in my opinion. There was a button, I pushed it, followed by Fred's, Jesus Christ, that's really how you go through life, isn't it? I'm absolutely sure this is a line from the books, but I can't remember if it was Fred who said it. I'll find out by the time I do my in-depth videos. Anyway, Monica has found a way to get Holden's attention by uploading her eye augmentation directly to him. We see Monica escape her shackles and pop a hole in the bunkhead, causing pressure to drop, so time is running out now. Bull and Holden make their way to the cargo hold, but open the wrong container. Uh-oh! Back on Earth, Amos meets up with Eric. Eric assumes Amos is here for violence and instantly lets his guard down when he realises the truth of it. He promises to let Charles keep the house and threatens to kill Amos if he returns to Baltimore again. I absolutely love this scene. I loved it in the book and I loved it in the show. I think they nailed it. It's basically exactly how I imagined it, except, you know, slightly different looking office. Holden manages to save Monica just as her air runs out and gives her a shot of hyper-oxygenated blood. On Luna, Christian and Delgado have a drink. She easily manipulates him into taking an interest in the destruction of the Hassami. And then we get a full flashback scene of Amos and Lydia, in which she promises to try and be the best she can if he does too. Jump ahead 30 or so years, and Amos is sitting on what I assume is the same dock, and some kids try to fuck with him, but he scares them off easily. And then he calls Avasarala and asks her to help him out with another visit while he's on Earth. End credits. So episode 2 carried on nicely from episode 1, focusing on the Amos and Alex story threads set up in episode 1 while allowing Holden's story with Fred, Bull and Monica to interweave between them. No Naomi plot this episode and only a hint at drummers, but I'm sure next episode is definitely going to deliver on those 2 plots. I was very surprised we got introduced to Salvatore this early. You know, seeing his, you know, without spoilers, he's only in the epilogue of book 5, if I can remember. But like all side characters in The Expanse, he is immediately interesting and a lot more in-depth than his book counterpart. Not that all the show characters are more in-depth, but just the side characters that only pop up a little bit in the book are always given more depth in the show for the most part, and I really enjoy that. You know, like Ashford, for example, just, you know, the Red Viper of The Expanse. The rescue of Monica Stewart felt very season 1 to me in terms of the simple tension regarding the dangers of living in space and saving the day before the air runs out. So it was half and half. Like, it was nice, but I don't know if that's what I want to be seeing by season 5. But yeah, it was alright. It's a warm up, innit? It's merely a warm up for what's to come, tension wise. But yeah, it's that use of filler. Oh no, I appreciate it. They did it a lot in season 1. To be fair, it's the use of filler like this that allows the other characters to catch up, you know, without being annoyingly out of place. Overall, I loved Amos's story as I did in the book, but Alex and Bobby's is definitely the most interesting to me so far. And I feel like, again, without spoiling anything, the big moment of Nemesis games, it's going to be happening by the end of the next episode, I think, or maybe episode 4. You know, bear in mind I'm writing these quick reviews. I'm making these reviews in between each episode, so we'll see. My favourite moments of episode 2 would have to be Amos's show of emotion with Frankie Faison. That was just a great scene. Alex's cheeky wink on the message board display pic when Holden's looking through the messages and Alex is the only one that moves for a second. He just gives a cheeky wink. I really appreciate that. That was hilarious. Salvatier's entire lecture is brilliant, especially when you know what's to come in the story, and it was just very interesting philosophy and ideals, and yeah, I loved it. I'm glad they gave that a good 5-minute scene. Definitely, like I said, best line of the season so far. There was a button, I pushed it, just cracking. Again, as I said earlier, I really enjoyed Amos and Eric's meeting. I enjoyed Avasarala manipulating Delgado. You know, she's still got it, baby. And of course, the end with Lydia and Timothy was just very moving and emotional. And especially when you've read, the Churn short story and Nemesis games, absolutely lovely and moving. And now into episode 3, Mother. And oh my God, I just finished episode 3 and I'm shaking like a leaf. Shit just got real. So we open on what I imagine is the Pella, Marco's ship, as we see that an asteroid now is only 22 hours away from colliding with Earth. On Luna, Christian and Delgado share a drink, and I wish we got to hear the end of that joke. Is that a Game of Thrones reference to Tyrion's untold joke? Maybe. Anyway, they meet with a scientist for a second opinion on the broken up asteroid, and he confirms their fears of a possible asteroid attack from Marco, the damage of which would be catastrophic. Christian then convinces Delgado to try and retask the watchtowers, which are currently trained on Mars. Opening credits. Drummer and her crew find Ashford's ship and board. They find it stripped of all fuels and information. Drummer plans to fix it up and take it with them, and then she starts searching for a hidden data core. A recovering Monica shares her information with Holden and Fred, and she has video footage from series of a Belter strike team breaking Paolo Cortazar out from Door's control. Holden and Fred discuss what they should do next and come up with a plan to find Monica's kidnappers, and I'm really happy to see Paolo Cortazar make his return. It's been since season 2, I think we last saw him. Naomi arrives on Palace Station and goes to a local bar. The bartender makes her out, and 2 lowlifes try to shake her down. Just as she is about to give in, Sin, pretty sure it's Sin, knocks the one bloke out and the girl runs away. Naomi and Sin are thrilled to reunite, but Carol has a face like fucking thunder. They reminisce for a moment before she tells them she is here to see Philip. They refuse to help, but Naomi manages to convince Sin to help her. On Mars, Alex and Bobby try to put all the pieces of the conspiracy together, in particular how Salvatore could be involved. Alex is unsure, but Bobby is sold. Alex reminds Bobby that she shouldn't be so fast to accuse a fellow Martian. Alex attends his date with Emily Babbage, and we get a mix of flirtatious dialogue interfused? Don't mean to write that, I guess I did it. Flirtatious dialogue interfused with trying to get information out of each other. Alex gives way too much information about the protomolecule and how it reacted on Ilus. And I want to give a quick shout out to Emily Babbage's beautiful green eyes. I mean, look at them. Wow. Back on Tynan, Drummer's crew is fixing her up as best as they can, as her small fleet of 3 ships are now on the move. Drummer is unhappy with not being able to find any information, so she sulks off to fix a minor error herself, only to realise that a suspicious extra fire extinguisher has a hidden compartment containing some food, a pistol, and a spare data core, which is just classic fucking Ashford, by the sounds of it. Drummer listens to the last conversation between Ashford and Marco, and Cara G's performance here is fucking great. We get an awesome shot of the pissed off pirate captain as her crew celebrates around her. She congratulates them, only to reveal her new plan is to hunt Marco for the bounty on his head before storming off. On Tycho, Sakai gives Bull and Holden some hilarious sass as she tries to help them investigate who owned the container Monica was stored in, and she manages to find the two kidnappers' address. Holden and Bull and a team search for the two brother Belters, but find them dead on arrival. Alex and Emily's date seems to be going well, and by well I mean Alex is drunk and Babbage has all the information she's going to get out of him. She tries to subtly fob him off, at least I felt she tried to subtly fob him off and end the night, but he pokes her with a few questions of his own, and she seemingly gives too much information away herself. You know, you could tell by the face she pulled that she regretted saying she was shipping out as soon as she said it. They say farewell and she kisses him, confusing us to whether she actually likes him or not. Especially since in the next scene Alex is attacked just outside of his room by two of Salvatier's goons. They drug him and interrogate him for what he wants. Alex sings like a canary, and just as about to pop a cap in his ass, Bobby comes to the rescue and as per usual just fucking kicks their ass. Cut to the cops clearing up the scene and arresting the goons, and Alex and Bobby learn they were dishonorably discharged, the goons that is, were dishonorably discharged from the Navy for theft of military hardware. Bobby and Alex then plan to follow the barkeep using the Razorback, and book 5 is on its fucking way, man. Back on the DeWalt, Drummer confides her sorrow to Oksana that she regrets turning down the role of Ashford's XO. They make love, and later Drummer sends Fred a message containing Marco and Ashford's last conversation. On Pallas, Naomi finally meets with Philip. This is a fucking lovely scene. She tries to apologise and explain herself, but Philip doesn't want to hear about it. And you know, he shows us that he's already been turned against her by Marco. She tells him she bought the Chetsumoka for him and that he can go anywhere he wants before Marco gets him killed. On Tycho, Bull and Holden report that the Duro brothers, the two Belters who kidnapped Monica, are dead. They report that death to Fred. He tells them to stop digging as the mole is about to reveal themselves. The ship that was scheduled to pick Monica up is still on the way, meaning they still think she's in there. So the three use this to their advantage to plan an ambush. Aboard the Chetsumoka, Naomi is about to message Holden when Philip comes aboard. Before they can speak, he tases Naomi. Sin and Carol come aboard and are about to take her off ship, thanking her for the Chetsumoka, when suddenly Philip decides they should bring her with them. Dum dum dum. On Luna, Delgado visits Christian and tells her that there is no chance of retasking the watchtowers as Delgado has been shut out and embarrassed. Christian tries to convince him, but he turns her down. Later, just as she's leaving, later she leaves a message, Later she leaves a message for Arjun, trying to keep the relationship afloat while explaining that she can't come home yet. Just as she goes to leave the room, she receives the Marco Ashford conversation forwarded to her by, I imagine, Fred Johnson. Tears begin to fill her eyes as we cut to the asteroid spotters in Earth's orbit. They might have been asteroid spotters, they might have been the railgun defense, or both. Or the watchtowers that she was on about. Anyway, suddenly Marco's stealth asteroid flies past at a ridiculous speed and enters the Earth's atmosphere. And on what I believe to be the Senegalese coastline, not sure how to say that word, a man in Fishfinder 5000 sunglasses is feeding the fish. I found that hilarious, Fishfinder 5000, when a great flash appears before him and he watches in shock as his skin starts to burn away and the Earth throws itself up in a devastating display of destruction. End credits. So this was a fucking brilliant end to the opening trilogy of season 5. I'd always suspected that they were going to end episode 3 with the bang when they announced they were going to release the first 3 episodes on day 1, and I was thinking to myself, oh, is that because they're going to build up to it and then leave us for a week to stew on it? The way they built to the earth-shattering climax would have been kind of wasted if they released them one by one, most likely. I, along with other book readers, I imagine, have been waiting to see this moment for a long time. I was annoyed that they revealed Marco's plan at the end of season 4, and I wanted the rock dropping to basically come out of nowhere, as it did in the books, at least for me it did. I remember reading an Amos chapter and suddenly the world had just changed forever. But having said that, I think they executed it very, very well. The shot of the asteroid zooming past the asteroid spotters was incredible and terrifying, and then the ending shot was, straight out of a Roland Emmerich movie, and all the better for it. It was fucking awesome. Just amazing. Well done, Tom Jane, who directed this episode. I haven't been sold on Philip until this episode. I didn't really like that he was rushed into the show, and I wish more time was spent with him rather than Marco last season. As to me, Philip is the more interesting and important character. But the scene where he meets Naomi and he just walks around and looks at her, I was like, yes, that's a great casting right there. It finally clicked for me. With one expression, he was the book character coming to life, so I'm happy with that for now. You know, I once did a video about Philip's arc, so check that out if you haven't already. Now, my favourite moments of episode 3 was the return of Cortazar. Really fucking awesome and interesting character in the books. I can't wait to see more of him, hopefully. By the fact that they're bringing him back in, even just hinting at him, you know, for book readers, that means a lot, I think. I liked when Fred put Holden in his place, and he just suddenly shouted at him. He's like, I've been fucking doing this for 20 years. I know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Love that. Love when Holden gets shouted at by Fred. When Naomi meets Philip, just beautiful, beautiful scene. Really love that. Sold me on Philip. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to Emily Babbage's eyes. Those green, beautiful bastards. Just love looking at them. No wonder fucking Alex opened up like a sack of potatoes. Kamina hearing Ashford's last words. Beautiful performance from Cara G. Love that scene. I loved Sakai being a joker, and she's gives some sass to Holden and Bull. I can't remember exactly what she said. First you asked me to do this, now you asked me to do that, or something. It's just brilliant little bit of belter sass. Alex on Truth Serum was hilarious. Just fucking, you know, just classic fucking Truth Serum gag. Avasarala's message to Arjun was really beautiful and touching, and the performance was great. And of course, the last scene, Earth as we once knew it, is gone. And I can't wait to see what happens next, man. Holy shit. From the very first scene of the pilot episode, I've always been impressed with the special effects and production design of this show, and they have only gotten better and better, with season 5 immediately looking like the absolute peak of big budget sci-fi television, you know, up there with Westworld in my opinion. And the show knows it, because they take every fucking chance they can to show it off, and I'm really glad they do. You know, from long take establishing shots of such locales as Luna, Mars, Tycho Station, the fucking sun. You know, that visual of a passing asteroid breaking up due to the heat was something I never knew I wanted to see until I did, to the most believable space elevator / tram rides I've ever seen. I mean, just look at this shot here. It's one thing to look this good, but having the detail of the reflection in the window just gives it that extra authenticity, which, you know, the show has always done really well. Authentic and gritty. I'm not sure whether it's a real reflection or added in later, but either way, it looks great and immerses you further into the world, and I imagine the whole season is going to look like this. So I won't be bringing it up every episode unless something, you know, in particular catches my fancy, like the fucking world-shattering event at the end of episode 3. Just, wow, looked amazing. And same can be said of the cinematography and lighting. It looks glorious every episode, and I'm happy for them to show off. You know, there's always so much going on in terms of set design and lights. It's really amazing how they keep on top of it all. You know, just compare these shots here. You know, they successfully use light to differentiate between locations. You know, we've got the nice warm, bright light, you know, of Fred Johnson's pad and Avasarala's place, and the clean, bright blue light of the Rocinante, as well as the dimmer, power-saving lights of the cheaper ships. And, you know, I just think the show looks better than ever. And sounds it too. Clinton Shorter's score has always been consistently fantastic and continues to do so. The Expanse has always had great ambience, but the more dramatic the story gets, the better Shorter's display of range will get. You know, look at Belowda from season 2. Love that track. He nails the atmospheric tones and the epic orchestrals. One thing I'm not too sure what to make of, which is introduced in season 4, but has become far more prominent this season, is the aspect ratio changes. You know, it seems to be happening from scene to scene at this point. You know, while I don't hate it, and I do often forget it's happening, it's still an interesting choice, which I'm not sure what to make of. But yeah, I'm fine with it for now. One thing I've always praised about the show is that it is really, really well adapted from the books. And after a slight bad taste left in my mouth after the season 4 ending scene, I can now say that once again, I am certain the writers know exactly what they're doing with this amazing source material. So yeah, that's the first 3 episodes out of the way. What did you think? Let me know in the comments, man. Hopefully you loved it as much as I did and are excited for the rest of the season. I am fucking pumped. So yeah, like and subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you later. Peace.